Does your website need more traffic? Well, visit overflowcafe.com today. They make websites popular, and over 41,000 people use their service to gain more customers. They are winning at business. What about you? Visit overflowcafe.com today.
Hi, this is your girl T with Rockefeller's Barbershop, located at 1733 Babcock in San Antonio, Texas. Whether you're looking for a haircut, a shave, braids, dreads, weaves, color, we do it all here at Rockefeller's. You can hit me up at 210-884-9046. That's for call or text. And on Facebook and Instagram at Takesha Williams. That's TAKESHIA Williams. And you're listening to us now on I Am Refocused podcast on iHeartRadio.
You are listening to I Am Refocused podcast special edition with your host, Shemaya Reed. This podcast is designed to inspire you to live your purpose and regain your focus. Now, let's tune in into today's podcast.
This is I Am Refocused podcast, and y'all, this is a special edition. Before we get into today's guest, man, I want to give a big, huge shout out to our sponsors, man. First on top of the list, Rico Rodriguez, the owner of Rockefeller's Barbershop, Miss Kim of River City Donuts, San Antonio, Texas, Bebe McClinton of All Sports Speed and Conditioning. He does all the NBA and NFL players, training them. Man, go to allsportsandfitness.net. And we also want to give a shout out to D.W. Brooks Funeral Home. And last but not least, if your business is in need of traffic on their website, you need to head over to overflowcafe.com. All right, so now to our special guest, man. Man, we have a awesome guy on the show. He's a music artist. How you doing, Mr. Donnell Isaac?
I'm doing great. I can't complain. Excited to be a part of your show today.
Awesome, man. So I was going through your bio, man. You have a long track record of just doing big things, man, from Florida to Virginia. Tell us a little backdrop of how did, you get started in music, because I know you're in a choir, right?
Yeah, definitely. Started out at an early age, singing in choirs and community groups, just singing. Just one day, the bug hit me. I'm inspired to write and want to be in the music industry.
And so when you got your first opportunity in the choir, what church was that?
It was a church by the name of St. Paul Pentecostal Holiness Church out of Portsmouth, Virginia, where I was born and raised.
And when you got going and just being exposed to music and singing on stage, did it just come naturally, or was it just something that you started just maturing as you gained more experience?
I think it was natural because, growing in a family of musical and talented individuals, it was just a natural thing to be able to sing and perform in front of people and not feel nervous or anything like that. I just think it was just natural.
And tell us about your family group. What's the name of that group?
The group is called the Swanette Gospel Singers.
And how did y'all come up, or how did they come up with that name?
I never really knew because the name had been around way before I was born.
Oh, okay.
So it's just like my great aunt, rest in peace, Aunt Corrine. She started the Gospel Swanettes, and they started in the 40s.
Oh, wow! So you have very rich background in music.
Yes, man. Definitely.
Now, how was it like growing up? Did you all sing in the house? How was the household? Was it always music 24/7?
Well, in my particular household, it wasn't. But when we go out to my grandmother's house or my great aunts and just visiting family, they always had, music, or it was always something around music. Even during the holidays and special occasion, we're going to get together and one of my great aunts is going to get on the piano and all the aunts and cousins going to gather around and we're just going to start, harmonizing and singing praises to God. And it was just, those times are memorable for me and amazing.
And you have rich experience traveling too. So touch on that for us. You've been in Tennessee before, and just how is it being on the road, when you're traveling and going to these different multiple events?
Definitely. Traveling to Nashville, Tennessee. That's where I recorded the first ever project I've ever, put out there, New Moment, New Choice. Mm-hmm. After going to Nashville, Tennessee, and traveling with the International Music Festival, the Shakespeare Festival, also up and down. I performed in New Jersey at the Kessler Institute. Also at different, I performed even at a Job Corps center. So yeah, I've been up and down, just performing, making a name for myself. I started out as Donnie C, and then the older and the more mature and wiser I got in the industry, I wanted to use my birth name, Donnell Isaac. So yeah, I've been doing what I do, and that's just music.
And what was the process when you were in the studio, when you first got started? Were you able to just get on the mic and just go at it, or were they actually having someone teach you the ropes on music production and engineering?
Yeah, that's really unique. I went to Nashville to record a remake of "You Got a Friend," after Donny Hathaway, even though it was Carole King's song, but the version that I was more used to hearing was Donny Hathaway. So I wanted to tackle that because I feel like he's like one of my idols. So going to Nashville, I met with an incredible producer, and basically, just getting in the studio and recording it was just something, a learned experience just by being there and doing it. It wasn't like no ropes being taught or anything. It's just like, I'm gonna get behind the keyboard and let's see what you got. And then he got to playing the live music, and we just started laying down tracks one by one. He said, we're gonna lay down one take, and then you're gonna come back and lay down another. So, I just jumped in it.
Sounds like you have a ton of passion. Was music an outlet? Like, how was it growing up?
Definitely. I grew up in what most folk call the projects, the hood. Mm-hmm. So music was definitely an outlet for me because I was around so much poverty and just so many people struggling and just trying to make it. And I also grew up in not so much of a perfect household, but my mother was, addicted to drugs, and my father wasn't present. So yeah, it was a tough upbringing, and music was my only source of inspiration to keep me grounded and to keep me focused and motivated to want to be somebody and do something in life and have something.
And at what moment, because you was going to church, singing at church, at what moment did you say, man, I can do this for a living? Like this actually can be my thing?
When I was probably about 8 years old, I was like, this is what I want to do. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to work hard at being. I'm going to make sure I finish school, make sure that I do what I need to do, because this is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to do whatever it takes to get there. Rather I make it famous and be a household name, even though that is the goal. But music is what I want to do and how I want to survive and take care of my family. And that is exactly what I've been doing.
And that's awesome that you decided you said 8 years old, right?
At 8 years old?
Man, now that's unique because usually, I mean, I know for myself, man, it took a while, like go through college and you still changing majors, but that's awesome that you had that clarity at such a young age. And is that the same when you're writing? Like things just comes to you like instantly, or is it just, you just write a journal and keep a diary and get your lyrics from there? Like how do you get that creative process going?
Honestly, I don't even, believe it or not, I don't even keep a journal of anything. My memory is my journal. Whatever I experience, whatever I go through at that moment, later on, I could be driving like by myself in a car and just a melody will just drop in my spirit. And I will begin to like, just start singing and humming and just putting words to it. Like one of the songs I have out called Happiness is Just a Step Away. I wrote that and I was just actually driving and the melody and the tune was in my head. And I just started to sing and spending my time working on my future, not wanting less, but to settle for the best. And, that's just how, inspiration comes to me, even when I'm driving, just from my own experiences and my own encounters and different things I go through. Because I'm a feeling writer. I'm a storyteller. So if I write, it's going to definitely be about my own experiences and my encounters and my story.
And if you're just now tuning in, we are talking to the one and only Donnell Isaac. And I also read in your bio that music is not the only thing you do. What's up with Law and Order and My Brother?
Definitely. I was just an extra, actually, in those movies. I was in New York, spending like a summer with my one of my aunts, my grandmother's sister, and I got connected with an actors rep and company. I was just actually walking in Times Square. And I met a guy, and he was just like, "You look like you could be an actor." He was like, "Have you ever thought about it?" And I was like, "Not really." I was like, "Music is my thing." He said, "Well, that's all a part of entertainment." He was like, he gave me his card, and he was like, "We're going to be having like some opening reader sessions. Won't you come past?" So I took his card and I came past, and they had me to join in. They gave me the script that they were reading around, and I just started, reading it with passion and with feeling, and just being natural, just being myself on, how I read. And it was like, how would you like to, start a career in acting? He was like, we have a couple of gigs, and then they just went over who they are as a company and what they do. And it was like, most people get their start with just, being an extra. And so I was like, yeah, I give it a shot. And I did it. I did the Law and Order series. And then they called me back and said they had another job with the Vanessa Williams, the making of My Brother. And they wanted me to come to that one. So I went to that one. And yeah, I just kept it going.
That's pretty impressive. I mean, you was in New York and someone just spotted you.
Yeah, I'm just walking with some headphones on. Man. I don't know if I was humming or doing anything.
It must be something in Isaac blood or something, man. That's pretty good, man. I mean, what's really awesome, though, is after that, correct me if I'm wrong, but you had your first major hit, Shelter in the Storm. Is that correct?
Shelter from the Storm, yes.
And how was that feeling when, it was more than 16 weeks that it was on the charts. Like, how did that feel to hear your project being on air?
To be honest with you, I didn't even realize the how the excitement of that. I didn't realize that because I was just doing what I do. And I had been, working so hard at trying to get my music out there. And then, one day catching the eye of a music executive Bernie McLean, who was the vice president of Kingdom Records. And if anybody knows Shekinah Glory, the gospel singers, as well as Cynthia Jones and the Whispers, just to name a few of the people on the label, he saw interest in one of the songs that my wife had sent to him, and she didn't tell me she had mailed my single that I did called Marching to Zion, and he had built a relationship and just started, grooming and educating us more on directions on what to take. So, I was doing just life music, and he was like, have you thought about making the inspiration, even if you don't want to go gospel, you can go gospel, but you can make an inspiration and still be you. And I wrote that song Shelter from the Storm, and hired a radio promoter and went from there. And the song, like you said, more than 16 weeks on the charts, and it was an experience. But I really didn't get the full excitement of it because I was working and trying to put out more music and get more concerts and just be visible.
And it's very interesting how you can just hear this very humble vibe. You're not really focused on the success. You're just trying to get more work done. That's pretty good. Touch on that, man, because, and also in your bio, it talks about how your music, you want the listeners to embark on a journey to an oasis for which the soul thirsts. Man, who wrote your bio, man?
I wrote my own.
Man, you wrote I had to ask that question because I was like, man, using these certain words, man, it's like it sounds like someone has some bars, singing.
Yeah, I wrote my own bio.
Are you a writer as well? I mean, outside of music, like, do you write? Like, you plan on writing a book one day, or?
I am. I'm actually planning on writing a book about my life. Because I do want to showcase my life, because I believe that my walk and the things that I've been through growing up could definitely inspire some of these younger generation underneath me that, have grew up in difficult times and feeling like, there's no way out. There's always a way out. And sometimes it's that gift that gets you out.
I like that. How has... you grew up in church, you were being exposed to church at a young age. How has faith really made an impact in your life?
Definitely has made an impact. Even if sometimes it wasn't the best impact, it just was a way to have a higher power. Feeling that you being looked after, feeling that, somebody else you can go to and talk to about all your problems, when you're not comfortable with talking to somebody else, being able to pray and just feel like, things are really happening and good. So, yeah, it had its positives and negatives. Religion, because sometimes religion can also give you the outlook that you're feeling like you're being controlled or you're being stuffed or stifled. So sometimes you have to be able to keep focused and have that straight mindset of not falling into that trap and just understanding what you want out of your religious experience and all of that.
And that's very interesting. If you don't mind, we can dig deeper in that.
Definitely.
I get that because there's a lot of, especially the younger generation, they feel like they're not being listened to, number one. And two, like you touched on, you feel like sometimes in faith, church, there can be situations where you feel like you're being controlled. And it's a lot of legalistic, just man-made rules. How do you keep that balance of still having faith, but at the same time still living?
Just understanding sometimes that your life is not about, it's not all about you, that you're here for a purpose. And focus on what your purpose is instead of what people trying to tell you how you should be and what you should do and how you should go about doing it in religion. Because like I say, religion can sometimes it can be a little something. It can be a little heavy for you, at times, especially with, judgments and just critical people. It sometimes I watched and seen it tear many people down and just, walk away and just give up. But I'm not that one, I'm that one that I have a strong mindset. So, you may tell me one thing, but I know what's in my heart, and I'm going to follow what's in my heart at all times.
And that's a key word. You said people. And, I hate to quote from DJ Khaled, man. He got a book, The Keys, and he kept talking about, quote unquote, they. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And he always kept talking about, don't worry about they, because they always going to be there. They always going to be hating. They always going to be talking about you. As soon as you turn around, somebody talking about you behind your back. It's the same thing with, walking in the faith world. Like, you still have to watch your back. And in my opinion, don't quote me on this, I'm not no pastor, but you really have to just have that one-on-one relationship. You gotta be you and God. It can't be you and so-and-so and God, because that boat gonna sink. Faith. And can I ask you, what do you think about that?
I totally agree with you. You got to have that one-on-one relationship. You can't have your mind crowded and with everybody else's opinions and everybody else's thought process. You got to be your own person in this. You got to study. You have to read. You just have to, be you.
And live.
At all costs. And
man,
live.
I ain't trying to have church, but you kind of went there, man. But it's real, because I like saying like this, man, and we're going to keep this tied to Donnell Isaac. But it's like McDonald's. You go to McDonald's and they give you fries. Do they ever ask you about your faith? No, they serve you hot fries as long as you got the money to pay it.
Exactly.
It's the same thing with people, whether it's in the secular world, working a job. Your boss expect you to do things and do it right and do it well. Same thing if it's a business to business sale. There's contracts. Exactly. And I'm not going to get off topic, but I feel, especially in today's world and temperature, people got to hear real talk, because it's too much political correctness. And don't mean to go off topic, man, but since we're on that topic, how do you take like the world's issues and crazy events, and what are some things that you try to do with your platform to just give hope out there?
My main goal is to insert love, whether it is in relationship, whether it is embracing people when I see them. I do not prejudge. I just welcome anybody, any and everybody. So, when you listen to my music, even from the Donnie C days to now, Donnell Isaac, everything I sing about is love at the end of the day. So that's why I always say, like you said in my bio, to take people on a journey of an oasis that their soul thirsts after. People thirst after love at the end of the day. They just don't know how to receive it or recognize it. But at the end of the day, you want to be loved. You want to be treated right. You want to be accepted. You want to feel good about who you are as a person. So, that is how I maintain the survival in today's climate.
And if you just now tuning in, we are talking to music artist Donnell Isaac. Man, tell us, man, what is in the future for you? I mean, I know you got your latest single, Loving You. Is that correct?
My latest single is actually Love Changes. I did a remake. I did a remake.
That's right.
Love Changes. So yeah, that is going strong now. I got my new EP project is out, titled Love Changes, and it has 6 great, amazing love songs, which includes Loving You, because Loving You was the first single that I released last year, letting people know that I was coming out with this new project, and Loving You. That's great that you knew that.
I'm glad I got part of it right. I'm glad it said some off title that was like, what?
No, that's great. That's great. So yeah, I'm working on that. I'm working on some great stuff. Oh my God, I don't even know if I could really talk about it right now.
You got like 1,000 songs. It's hard to keep up which one is new, which one is old, because it feels like as soon as you drop one, you got like 30 in the bank, man.
I do. Yeah.
I mean, who inspired you to have that kind of work ethic?
I would have to say,
or is this something natural? Like it's just no natural type of thing?
I just had to say it's natural, you know. I'm inspired. I'm inspired by me.
That's awesome, man.
You know,
I mean, that's very unique because a lot of times you hear the typical answer, you know, my mom, my dad, you know, my cousin, you know, my mentor, old guy in the studio, let me come in, just press buttons, all of a sudden I'm doing this. That's pretty awesome. Like you have that self-starting mentality. Like I'm not waiting for somebody to give me permission or hand me the key to the door. If there's no key, I can see you just out there building a door.
That is exactly me.
And building the key and making it work and be like, here it go.
Here it is.
What's some advice do you have for music artists like yourself who are hungry and want to do well, but maybe they're not as quick as you, you know, they're not as motivated as you to just quickly go to the next project? What are some of the tools they need to have in order to get to the next level so that they're not stuck on level one?
One of the things that I have learned that it is okay to be hungry for what you want, but I learned this the long way. Is even though it's excitement in it, educate yourself on whatever it is that you're trying to do in this business. Have a game plan, focus. You don't always trust everybody, and don't be afraid of the no's. Those no's need to be your stepping stool to your yes, even if you're creating your own yes.
Oh, that's good. Man. That's good right there. Knows as ability to step on, man. Like that's a whole different like vibe, because a lot of times people get that one no and it shuts down everything. It shuts down their creativity, their confidence, and their vision. All of a sudden turns to this, like it once was this big, huge vision. Now it's just small. Maybe it's not meant to be. Mm-hmm. What do you say to the person who might have already accepted the no and they're just living in defeat? What's some of the things that you can tell that individual who might be hearing this podcast to wake them up?
Wake up. And
I love that simple. That's awesome.
Just that simple. Wake up.
Man, all right, you gonna be a life coach too one day, man. I can hear it. I mean, why? Let me ask this question. People probably asking, why is he so positive? What makes you so positive and see life in such a positive way?
My experiences. When I tell you, I grew up in the hood. I grew up in, poverty. Even though I had church, I had heartache. I had pain. I grew up in just, a place where everything was negative around me. So I had no choice but to find my way or either fall into that category. I grew up where drugs was, so rampant. It was just like you look out the door, everybody, all your friends, mama, including your mama, they all on drugs, hanging out. And so it's just, you have to find that balance and that security in you, nobody's going to love you like you. So, that's how I continue my motivation. Like I told you, this music thing, being able to having a gift and being able to nurture your life through your gift, it's amazing in itself.
And you have a brand, you have a platform, and you're pretty much an entrepreneur. So as an entrepreneur, doing what you already love doing, what's some of the things that a entrepreneur has to watch out for when you're growing yourself and your marketing, your brand? Like, what's some of the things that you have to do day in, day out to keep that flow?
You got to keep your circle tight. You got the people that are believing in you, the people that are for you and that are helping you to make things happen. Respect them and respect everything about them, around that they're giving you. I have a saying that I like to, I always say, in the face of no evidence, create.
That's good.
And that is one of my sayings that I always, tell myself. So
was very interesting with that statement, man. I mean, just think about that. Yeah. I mean, if you never step foot in the studio, man, we would not be talking right now.
Exactly.
And if you want to go even deeper, which I don't need to, but I'm going to do it anyway. You look all around you, look all the banks, look all the clothing lines, look all the sports teams, all the churches, if someone did make that choice to step up and say, you know what, this needs this needs that, you never know how your dream is going to affect people.
Exactly.
And when you hesitate, man, touch on that. What happens when, like I said, someone listening to this, what if they hesitate? I mean, they know they need to wake up, but what was the consequence if they hesitate on their dream?
All I can tell them is your mindset is what controls your future. That is all I could, really tell a person that, just feel defeated and can't see their way. It's your mindset. Change your mindset.
Man, I don't know if you realize it, but you taking them all on a journey to an oasis that they so is thirsty for. I know I remixed that, but I'm doing it on the fly. Yeah. Man, when it comes to you seeing the results now, you're getting all these accomplishments and you're seeing things come through for you and for yourself, your music. What is the next level of what you would like to do by this time next year?
By this time next year, what I'm gonna do. Okay. And not to be cocky about it, but what I am really, really working hard at doing is to broaden my my audience. I want to come out with a full length project, and then, like I said, I got something else in the works that I'm not able to really talk about right now. But definitely, I am out here working, trying to make, as Cardi B say, money moves.
Hey, I'm not mad at that. I mean, you got to pay your bills and got to eat, right?
You do. You do.
Pay the car note. I mean, ain't nothing wrong with that. That's life. Yeah. I mean, that's another discussion. I don't want to go that road. Yeah. But man, tell us, how can people stay connected with you on social media? Because time be going by, man. It's crazy.
It does. So you can follow me on Facebook, Experience Donnell Isaac 1 is the handle on Facebook. Or if you just type in Donnell Isaac, I have about 2 pages, because one page you can't have but so many. So then I had to create another one. Then I have Twitter, the Donnell Isaac. And then I have Instagram, Donnell Isaac 15. And then my website leads you all the way to all things Donnell Isaac, is DonnellIsaac.com.
And we got time for shout outs. So it can be one, few, it doesn't matter. Who you want to give a shout out to, man?
I'm definitely going to give a shout out to my wife and my kids and my family. They hold me down and keep me rooted and grounded. And then I got to give my publicist, Cece, a shout out, because she works very hard and diligent in making sure my brand is heard and noticeable.
That's awesome. Well, there you have it. We are talking to Donnell Isaac. Man, if you have not checked out his music, you need to do it right now. And don't worry, we got you covered. Links and everything. Bios can be in the description. So make sure you make that move. Don't hesitate. This guy's a go-getter. And you know what? If you're a music artist and you need some inspiration, I suggest you go follow him and read his whole bio, because we haven't even scratched the surface of what he's been doing. But before we even close this show, just like we do every single show, I want to say this last thing. Keep God first, stay focused, and peace.